So a very good afternoon to one and all present here. First of all, wish you all a very happy and a warm International Yoga Day today. So we are celebrating our 9th International Yoga Day today. It's indeed a great pleasure to be a part of this revered organization and a part of this rich culture of yoga, Ayurveda, and Indian medicine. So at the outset, I would like to introduce and welcome all the panelists, Achal sir, Achal Mehra sir, Shrikant Srinivasan sir,
hello,
Geetanjali ma'am, Mahesh sir,
good evening, everyone.
Sundar sir. So it's indeed a great pleasure to be here hosting today's session. And first of all, I would like to invite Dr. Shrikant Srinivasan to give us a glimpse on introduction to the Niyama way. Over to you, Shrikant sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Malavika, for handing over the sections to me. My name is Dr. Shrikant Srinivasan. I'm a neurologist and a neuropsychiatrist. I'm practicing at the Lanka Apollo Hospitals in Colombo, Sri Lanka. So I'm going to take the next couple of minutes to talk to you about what Niyama is and what we do and how we came about to starting this startup and digital healthcare platform. Niyama is a newly sprung digital healthcare platform which caters to mental well-being and mental health care of the masses. This has been started by a very committed group of professionals, both medical and non-medical professionals, who have come together with the passion of seeing the mental well-being of all our clients and people improve. So we have three main objectives, three main distinguishing characteristics that we would call that make us stand apart from the remaining health startups that we have in the market. The first is that we are an integrative psychiatry or mental health care platform. By integrative, we mean that we combine these services of both allopathic or Western psychiatry, which is the conventional mode of psychiatry that is being offered, as well as the practices of both Eastern medicine or Ayurvedic psychiatry. This we feel maximizes the benefits that we can offer to all our clients that come into contact with our services. The second most important characteristic that we would say that distinguishes Niyama from the other platforms is that we are a specialist multidisciplinary platform. In contrast to all the aggregators that are in the market now, which bring together a group of mere counselors or psychologists, we are a specialist multidisciplinary platform. So we have on our platform the services of Ayurvedic psychiatrist. We have on our services, we have allopathic psychiatrist, very highly trained clinical psychologists who cater to clients across the age groups, children and adolescents, adults, as well as geriatric or senior clients also. We also have nutritionists who are trained in both the allopathic as well as the Ayurvedic nutritional systems. We have very expert yoga advisors who advise us on choosing the correct medically advised personalized yoga postures that we prescribe to our clients. And this is backed up by a very committed group of about 25 to 30 professionals in the IT sector and data scientists who take this to the front end of our clients, the digital platform. So this is the committed group of both medical and non-medical professionals who have come together to launch this digital healthcare platform. So this is in short about our Niyama Digital Healthcare platform. It is an integrated platform that brings together the services of both allopathic as well as Ayurvedic psychiatry. It is a multidisciplinary specialist platform that offers services to our clients across the age spectrum. And it is powered right from the beginning by a digital trust, which has both, predominantly it is a digitally delivered service platform, which also has face-to-face or offline sessions wherever it is being, the need is being filled, that will be offered to our clients in a face-to-face or offline model also. These are the three main highlights of a digital care platform. Why we felt the digital mode, why we felt the integrative model of services is very important is that we felt that with the onset of the recent pandemic, we felt that there was a very big uptake in online services, and we felt that the online services, the mode of delivery can be taken to every doorstep. And if we need to reach every client who's suffering from psychological distress and emotional disturbances, we felt that mere brick and mortar clinics would not be enough. So we felt that the digital mode of delivery of services is the way to go. So that was the main rationale behind throwing a weight behind digital delivery of services. And we felt that one system of medicine would not be able to alleviate the suffering of emotional and behavioral, psychological suffering of everybody. We felt that maximizing benefits to our clients by combining different systems of medicine is very important. That is why, and because there is already a very big growing body of evidence that supports the Ayurvedic systems of medicine, the scientific rationale behind the Ayurvedic system of medicine in alleviating emotional and behavioral psychological distress is what made us believe in this integrative mode of delivery for psychiatric and emotional well-being services. And we also felt right from the beginning that harvesting the ever rapidly increasing data science and artificial intelligence systems is the way to go, because when we need to scale up our services, it's also very important that we try to take it to minimize the need for human personnel to offer our services, especially in assessments and delivery of routine services. When we try to bring in artificial intelligence and data mining and other things, we can minimize the amount of time that scarce resource personnel can spend with the clients, and we can limit them, expose their time to more important services in treatments and other things where they are more acutely felt. So this is the rationale that led us to the development of this Niyama. It is a scratch custom built service where we offer the best on par industry services that has adopted the state of the art assessment and diagnostic protocols, both in the assessment protocols, in the treatment protocols, both in psychiatric medications as well as in psychotherapy processes, where we are on par with the best international standards. So this in a nutshell is about what the philosophy of Niyama is about. So we'll be detailing about each of these particular sections, about Ayurvedic psychiatry, about allopathic psychiatry, about the psychotherapy things that we do, about the yoga sessions and subsequent sections of the panel discussion that we'll be having later.
Thank you, Dr. Srikanth, for a very brief and very clear explanation about the Niyama way. I now go on to introduce our precious group of panelists. Mr. Achal Mehra. Achal Mehra is a yoga expert dedicated to guiding individuals on their transformative journey towards holistic well-being through the practice of yoga. An IIM Ahmedabad alumni, he held leadership positions in the corporate world and co-founded a yoga studio, the Yoga House in Mumbai. He's conducted classes in India and abroad, along with yoga retreats at various locations. He combines profound knowledge of yogic philosophy from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali in his asanas and meditation techniques, empowering his students to cultivate inner harmony, physical vitality, and spiritual awakening through the practice of yoga. I wish you a very hearty welcome, Achal Mehra ji.
Namaste, Malvika. Namaste, everyone.
Namaste, sir. Next, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Gitanjali Natarajan. She is the Chief Clinical Psychology Advisor of Niyama Healthcare Limited. She was the best outgoing intern during MPhil in clinical psychology from the prestigious NIMHANS and was recipient of the Fulbright doctoral and professional fellowship with placement at Columbia University, New York. With 20 years of clinical experience, she is an expert in ACT and process-based therapy as a practitioner, supervisor, and trainer. Extend a very warm welcome to you, ma'am. I go on to introduce our very own Dr. Mahesh Kundagol.
Namaste.
Dr. Mahesh Kundagol specialized in the field of Ayurveda psychology and psychiatry, has vast clinical and academic experience. He has been serving the community since last 15 years and providing professional service for the management of psychiatric illness. He specialized in yoga and Ayurveda psychotherapy. He has also served in the fields of child and adolescent mental health. A very warm welcome to you, Mahesh sir.
Thank you.
It's indeed a great pleasure to introduce Dr. Shrikant Srinivasan. Dr. Shrikant is a consultant neurologist at the Lanka Apollo Hospitals, Colombo, Sri Lanka. He is trained in neurology at the Madras Medical College, Chennai, and later at the National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, NIMHANS, Bangalore. He obtained further training in dementia from the Memory and Aging Center, University of California, San Francisco, USA, and in neuropsychiatry from St. George's Hospital, London, and National Hospital for Neurology and Neurosurgery, Queen Square, London. He has also subsequently obtained his master's in psychiatry degree from the University of Melbourne, Australia. His subspecialty interests are in dementia and neuropsychiatry, in which fields he is actively involved in both clinical practice and research. A very, very warm welcome to you, Shrikant sir. Myself, Dr. Malvika Seshadri. I am an Ayurvedic postgraduate in Swasthavritta. Swasthavritta is a branch of Ayurveda dealing with preventive and social medicine. I'm a consultant physician in Vishesh Ayurvedics. I've served as a faculty of Ayurveda at the Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram, Chennai, a very prestigious institute for yoga for global students. I'm also a postgraduate in yoga from the Annamalai University, Chidambaram, India. Apart from teaching Ayurveda and yoga, prevention and treatment of lifestyle disorders is my area of expertise. Once again, I welcome all of you to this wonderful meetup. And may I request Dr. Mahesh Kundagol to speak on Ayurvedic psychiatry. Over to you, Mahesh sir.
Thank you, Dr. Mallavika. Good evening, everyone, and very warm wishes of 9th International Yoga Day to everyone. And today is June 21st. Why June 21st was selected for International Yoga Day is that today is the longest day of the year. And also, we are shifting from, geographically, there is a shift from Uttarayana to Dakshinayana. And adding to this, in Gujarat, spiritually, people believe that it is the beginning of Chaturmasa, that is the 4 months, the god goes to sleep. And people understand that there will be nobody to take care of their health. And it is the right time that we have to start or adapt the principles of yoga to prevent the diseases and take care of our health on the upcoming 4 months. And coming back to Ayurveda, how Ayurveda and yoga are related. Ayurveda is a branch, or it's a part of Vedas. That is, it is a branch of like Atharvana Veda, which was meant for the taking care of the health needs of the people. It was actually meant for the providing the health needs of the society. As the Veda, the word meaning of Ayurveda is that it is a science of life. What do you mean by science of life? It gives a complete aspects of the needs of health, what is good for health and what is bad for health, complete knowledge about the life and maintaining the health and prevention of the disease. The main goal of Ayurveda is to maintain the health of the individuals and also prevent the upcoming diseases and the prevention of the disease also. And as we know that Ayurveda is approaching in a holistic way, and Ayurveda states that what do you mean by health? Health is a complete state of health of the physical health, mental health, social health, and the spiritual health. When all these aspects are in a balanced way, then only we can call it as a health. So Ayurveda understands and adapts. So it focuses on maintenance of the health of all physical health, mental health, social and spiritual health. So to maintain all these things and to adapt, there are many things needed for this. So it is not only the way to keep the physical health, but also we have to take care of the mental health by many aspects. So there is many disciplines have been explained, which includes adaptation of the diet, lifestyle, yoga, and other measures, meditation and other measures to maintain this health. So how does Ayurveda understands as the health? Ayurveda believes that there are three vital forces called as doshas, which maintain our health. So that includes the metabolic force, nutritional force, and the adaptive force. That is Vata, Pitta, Kapha. So Vata is the driving force in the body, Pitta is the metabolic force in the body, and Kapha is the nutritive and adaptive force in the body. So why these are called doshas? Because they are always in a sense of getting in a disequilibrium. So they have to be maintained in a balance. So as I said, there is a combination of body and mind. Acharya Charaka, who is one of the great sages of Ayurveda, says that body follows the mind and mind follows the body. What does it mean? The health of the body influences the health of the mind, as well as simultaneously the health of the mind also influences the health of the body. That means if there are any physical disease, that can definitely influence the mental diseases, and mental diseases can affect the physical health also. So like this, when I speak about the physical doshas or the driving forces, there are also, as I said, these are always in a state of disequilibrium. They have to be balanced always with adaptation. So Ayurveda explains many measures to keep them in a balance. So there are many factors which influences the balance of these doshas, just like day and night, morning, evening. So there are many climatic influences. So like how we see the climate change in the day and night, that also influences the balance of these doshas in a physiological way. Like that, there are any seasonal changes also. There are seasonal influences. They also influence the balance of these doshas. And also how we eat, what we eat, how we think, how we live, these also influences the balance of these doshas. So like physical doshas, there are also mental doshas or gunas. Gunas or doshas they're called. So these gunas or doshas of the mind maintains the health of the mind. So there is a definite influence of physical doshas over the mental doshas. That's how I mentioned that there is a strong link between the body and the mind. Maintaining the disease, maintaining the health, physical health definitely helps in maintaining the mental health also. Like how if there is any imbalance in the gunas of the mind or doshas of the mind, definitely that influences the physical doshas also. So that's why Ayurveda recommends a proper guidelines to for which has to be followed according to the day and night, seasons and climates, and according to the ages also. Because Ayurveda mentions many things like according to age, there will be variations in the metabolism. So how to eat, what not to eat. And another speciality of Ayurveda is that it is always customized and individualized. So Ayurveda believes that each and every individual is built separately, or he is a separate individual. So we cannot go on for a generalization of each and every principles which have been explained. In Ayurveda, what is been done is that if individual is examined, tested carefully for understanding his physical build-up and mental build-up, and thorough examination is done to understand what is good for him, what is bad for him in the form of food, lifestyle, emotions, and other things. A person is given a complete customized prescription based on all these things in the form of yoga, diet, lifestyle, and other lifestyle also. So how does yoga helps in this? Dr. Achal Mehra will be explaining in detail all about these things. And Dr. Malavika will be also speaking in detail how diet influences the body and mind. So now I just like I said, like how in the beginning I said, like a body follows the mind and mind follows the body. A strong body is needed for the strong mind. That's why yoga has been explained to keep the both body and the mind fit. So the yoga is the science which helps in maintaining the fitness of both the body as well as the mind. As I explained, there are physical doshas and mental doshas. So there are two aspects of yoga which covers this both physical and mental aspects. So the speciality of again Ayurveda coming back is that it is a customized one. And in Niyama, we have worked for nearly last decade to build up in a professional way the customized diagnostic tools and assessment tools as per Ayurvedic principles. And when an individual comes to Niyama, he is being thoroughly examined as per the principles of Ayurveda. And the prescription is also done in a very customized way as per the principles of Ayurveda. So again, I am going to add why there is an integration needed, because any single science cannot address all the needs of a individual. So there is a need of a blending of the sciences, like the current science, and the psychotherapy is also required, yoga is also required, diet is also required. So when there is a blend of all these things, we will be successfully able to address all the needs of an individual. So again, I thank you one and all. I got a brief opportunity to talk about Ayurveda and Niyama, Ayurveda and Niyama. So I thank you one and all. I hand over the mic to Dr. Malavika.
Thank you, sir. That was an eye-opening session on Ayurvedic psychiatry. Thank you very much for that. Next, we move on, and I welcome Dr. Shrikant Srinivasan for his talk on integrative psychiatry. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Malavika, and thank you, Dr. Mahesh, for a very beautiful introduction to Ayurvedic psychiatry. So when it comes to allopathic psychiatry, it starts with a very interesting promise that we have wonder drugs, we have designer drugs that is going to cure everything. But then with every new medication, what we see that it is just a tinkering of the existing version of a drug. So what we find that there is a 5% improvement on the previous drug, a 10% improvement on the previous drug. And most of the time, what comes with a very great promise eventually proves to be a disappointment. This has been the sad story of allopathic psychiatry, if I would be permitted to say this without offending a lot of people. So allopathic psychiatry has a very robust system of clinical diagnosis with its very accurate classification, even though I would like to differ and say that its classification system is mostly a counting of a number of symptoms. And okay, if we have 5 different symptoms, then you allot that to a particular kind of syndrome. If we have 6 different symptoms or different kinds of symptoms, it makes another kind of disease, another thing. It is not backed up by any biomarker kind of thing that we have in other systems of medicine. So that is, even though its treatment is very evidence-based, it has a very neurobiological basis to it. We find that still there is a very great majority of patients who still do not benefit from the current psychiatric armamentarium of treatments that we have. Even the most effective psychiatric medications or treatments that we have still do not benefit more than 60 to 70% of the patients that come to us for treatment. On the strength of psychiatric medications or Ayurvedic allopathic psychiatry is that it defaces or depersonalizes the individual patient who comes to us. For example, we do not look at the particular phase or the particular person or the individual behind a particular syndrome that come to us. Okay, this is a patient with depression, this is a patient with bipolar illness, this is a patient with schizophrenia, is how we tend to view a person who comes to us. But we do not try to understand the kind of person who comes to us, who presents to us with a group set of symptoms, and we make a syndromic diagnosis for it. This drawbacks of allopathic psychiatry is greatly compensated by the strengths of Ayurvedic psychiatry, which most of the allopathic practitioners like me have discovered very late into our clinical careers. So Ayurvedic psychiatry, on the other hand, is a very personalized system of medicine. So its approach to disease diagnosis, its approach to targeting treatment modalities is very personalized. So when we can combine these two individual, very different systems of medicine, Ayurvedic system of medicine is a very elaborate system of medicine with its entirely different understanding of causative factors for disease, understanding how to diagnose disease, how to understand the person behind these different disease and health conditions, and entirely different modalities of treatment. And we feel that because our treatment modalities with existing allopathic systems are not 100%, and especially because allopathic psychiatry or allopathic systems of medicine do not personalize the treatment recommendations, there is always strength to be drawn from the Ayurvedic systems of medicine to maximize the treatment benefits. One other drawback that we always have found from allopathic systems of medicine is that even though the curative aspects, the ameliorative aspects are very strongly emphasized in allopathic systems of medicine, both psychiatry as well as non-psychiatric medicines. The preventive aspects of medicine, as well as the health promotion benefits, the wellness benefits are not very strongly emphasized in the allopathic systems of medicine. This is one more area where we can always learn from Ayurvedic, because the real strength of Ayurvedic system of medicine lies in its preventive aspects as well as in health promotion, wellness benefit. So when we combine these two systems of medicine, we find that there is a lot more that we can offer to our patients. And once the patient's syndrome, the particular disease condition has been treated to remission, we can improve a particular patient's emotional or mental resilience so that he doesn't fall prey to the future development of all these particular psychological conditions. So this is where we got interested in combining or this integrating these two entirely different systems of medicine, especially given the fact that this Ayurvedic psychiatry is very readily accessible to us clinicians in this part of the world. And there is a very strong evidence base which is already available to back up the claims of Ayurvedic psychiatry, whether it is the evidence to support polyherbal formulations in various emotional conditions, or whether the evidence to back up yoga as a treatment, or either as a standalone or as a adjunct modality to support the treatment of emotional psychological conditions, or mindfulness-based mind-body interventions to back up either as a standalone curative treatment modality or as a preventive and wellness modality in various emotional and psychological conditions. We find that there is a very strong evidence. In fact, the evidence base is so impressive that in many cases it even rivals the evidence that we have from various allopathic, psychopharmacological, and psychological psychotherapeutic modalities also. So we have all the more reason to believe in the Ayurvedic systems of medicine, because it's readily available to us in this part of the world. It is very culturally acceptable to clients in this part of the world, and it is very cheaply available with almost negligible adverse effects. So that is the reason we find this is very simply put, it is like all hands to the pump. If we need to maximize the benefits that we have to give to our patients with a given condition, and then we need to adopt all methods that is available to us with the least side effects and which is culturally acceptable, so that we don't have any resistance on the part of the client to adopt any of the measures that we suggest to them. So this is the rationale that we initially thought that there should be a greater role for integrative medicine in psychiatry, especially because we find that the success rates for psychiatry are not very great compared to other modalities of treatment, with the exception of probably neurology. So that is the rationale behind the integrative psychiatry that we've adopted through Niyama.
Thank you, Dr. Shrikant sir. It was is always a pleasure to hear to you. It was a very, very useful and a very eye-opening session. I now invite Dr. Geetanjali Natarajan to talk on integrative psychotherapy.
Good evening, everyone. So it's with great happiness that I'm with you today at the 9th International Yoga Day. It's actually high time that we have integrated our Indian teachings and traditions and healing practices into the mainstream treatment and psychotherapeutic modalities. So what is integrative psychotherapy? And two things that we need to understand here is that human beings are very complex. They bring unique needs, hopes, challenges into the therapeutic setting. And a single therapy may not cater to every client who comes to us. And also that we need a treatment which is holistic, which is not just addressing the thoughts or the emotion or the body or the mind alone, but which goes beyond that. And that reflects the current understanding of what health is, that it has moved very much away from the medical paradigm and the medical model or the biomedical model of human suffering to understanding it from a psychosocial and biological perspective. So integrative psychotherapy essentially combines ideas, techniques, strategies from different therapies so that it has a better fit to the patient's problems from whichever kind of difficulties they are bringing in, or from what context they are coming in from. And integrative psychotherapy definitely is much more flexible and inclusive. But when we say integrative, it is not just eclectic, or that we put together few strategies or techniques together according to the therapist or the clinician's training, but very deeply understanding the client's needs and then fitting it with evidence-based treatment modality. So let's, if we see the benefits of integrative psychotherapy, it is a lot more experiential. It's much more interactive, and the client has a better choice of what treatment he or she receives. And integrative psychotherapies essentially help the client connect to their body, mind, and their consciousness in a much more holistic manner. And through integrative psychotherapy, the client also gains better self-efficacy in managing their body and mind, thoughts, and taking better control of their actions. In integrative psychotherapy, we essentially do not look at human beings as abnormal or coming with disorders or psychopathology, but that each human being is struggling to manage his or her life. And it is these struggles that we acknowledge and help them lead a much more fulfilling life. And integrative psychotherapy helps us to understand problems from the lens of the Panchakoshas. We not only address the physical, emotional, psychological, but looking at the energy and the spiritual needs of the client, and achieving better balance of the three doshas, as Dr. Mahesh had explained. And through this, what we can see is that we are making changes not only in their thoughts and emotions, but also helping the individual manage their daily routine in such a way that their physical needs, their diet, their mental needs are all satisfied in a healthy and adaptive manner. And one of the components, the main components of Western psychotherapy is very top-down approaches, where we are addressing the thoughts and looking at emotional control and making changes in the thoughts or addressing the thought level, which is typically comes under talk therapies. But through integrative psychotherapeutic approaches, we are giving a lot of emphasis to bottom-up approaches also, where the body is body-mind interactions and the role of body in contributing to various problems are acknowledged. So we bring in strategies like the breathing techniques, movement, mindfulness, meditation, body awareness, body scanning. All these can be very fluidly integrated into psychotherapy. And integrated psychotherapy can be utilized for various kind of problems like chronic pain, psychosomatic illnesses, as well as various mental health problems. And it is can be applied in various settings also. Typically, treatments are done in a hospital or a clinic setting, but when we come to integrated approaches, it can be used in corporate settings for stress management with children, for senior citizens, for their more existential concerns, as well as integrated into mental health programs also. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Geetanjali ma'am. It was a very, very interesting session, and so many details of Ayurveda and yoga also you combined, and it is so beautiful that you could beautifully blend various systems. Thank you so much, ma'am. I now go on to present on mind-body interventions in psychiatry with special reference to yoga.
Malvika, are you referring to me now?
I would, yes, sir, you could finish and then I could present, not an issue.
No, I mean, if you, whichever is the order, it's fine.
All
you
right,
want
sir.
me to, okay. So, good evening, everyone. Namaste. Namaste is a very beautiful word. It means that I bow to the divine within you. So, accept my, bow to you on this special International Yoga Day. I have been practicing yoga for almost 40 years now. And then I've been teaching yoga for almost 10 to 12 years in various formats. So I will share with you my understanding of what yoga is and also dispel some of the myths about yoga. So first of all, I think, yoga, as most people understand, is some kind of a physical exercise. But I would like to tell you that yoga is much bigger than that. It is a personal journey of an individual from the current state of awareness to the state of samadhi. And Patanjali, about 300 BC, he codified all the learnings of the yoga, before him, Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. And probably that is the most definitive book or, on yoga now, which people should, refer to when they want to understand what the true meaning of yoga is. So yoga is always, understood in as Ashtanga yoga, not the Mysore Ashtanga yoga, which is, just a form of physical exercise, but Ashtanga yoga means there are 8 limbs of yoga, and they are in some way sequential, like Yama and Niyama. So they are like prerequisites for us to start our journey into yoga. So yoga starts with our relationship with the society, which is defined by the yamas. So yamas are ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha. The way we integrate or the way we interact with the society through, through being truthful, through being, not violent, through being loving, through being non-stealing. So all these are our linkages with the society. And if we are not understanding these linkages well, and if we are stuck with the society, how can we start our journey with yoga? So once we have kind of sorted our, relationship with the society through these yamas, then we are able to move a little inward. And then we come to what we call niyamas. Niyamas are like, once we have, disconnected from the society, when we have sorted our relationship with the society by being loving, by being truthful, by being non-stealing, by being non-greedy, then we are a little more ready to move into an inward journey. And then we come to what we call niyamas, which are, soch, which is purity of the body, santosh means contentment, swadhyaya means studying, being able to study your own self, ishwar praninahan, which means, surrendering to a bigger entity than ourselves. So once, we have crossed these bridges of yama and niyama, then we are ready to, fine tune our body a little more. Then we come to the what yoga is most commonly known as the practice of asana. After the asanas, we move into pranayama, which is, purifying the body a little more with the breathing techniques, etc. So yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, these are called bahirang yoga, or these are the outward yoga. And then we come to the next limb of yoga, which is called pratyahar. Pratyahar means, once you have kind of, disconnected from the external world, you have started looking inwards, and that starts your journey inward. And that is the fifth limb of yoga, which is called pratyahar. In Christianity, sometimes, what we call conversion, it is related to almost the same thing, looking inward. And then we come into what we call the antarang yoga, or the inner yoga, which is dharana, which is practice of concentration, dhyan, which is the practice of meditation, and samadhi, which is reaching a state of mind, which is almost like the state of what a Buddha is. So yoga is all divided into all these parts, but we commonly understand it as asana. And today, in the context of our discussion, we will restrict it to asana, and we will restrict it to pranayama practice. Those are the interventions we resort to when we are trying to address any kind of mental illnesses. But even in terms of, when we come to the asana practice, people have many myths about yoga. That people feel that yoga is only about, flexibility. Yoga is only for women. That's why many men do not do it, because they feel that it does not address, their strength or endurance. But I would like to tell you that, in my, experience of teaching yoga for all these years, I've come across many converts, many men who were hardcore, physical practitioners, people who have also participated in Ironman, and they said that, in the kind of, endurance and strength you get from yoga practice, you cannot get it from, going to a gym. So, for example, when you do a plank or when you do 100 Surya Namaskar, you get the endurance, or you get the strength as well. So yoga has, all these parts. And when we look at, the body and mind, they are interconnected. Some of the eminent analysts before me have already, put this onto the perspective that, body and mind is completely related. And when we are trying to reach a state of awareness, which is like a Buddha, you cannot achieve it with a physical body which is in a poor condition. Or, another analogy I would like to say that, the asana practice is almost like, tuning a musical instrument. If you want to play good music with, a musical instrument, then you need to, you need to tune it. And your, asana practice, the practice of pranayama, is something very, similar to this, tuning your body to achieve best music out of it. So this is what the landscape of yoga is all about. And in terms of, mental interventions, when we look at, I mostly look at it as a preventive, medicine, or a preventive practice. You keep your body healthy so that you can, have a state of mind which is always alert, which is always aware. Yoga, the quintessential definition of the yoga is defined in the first sutra of Patanjali. Yoga Chit Vritti Nirodham. Yoga is the stopping of the activity or the thoughts of the mind. So if you look at, all your anxieties, all your, depression, everything relates to thoughts. We have a web of thoughts. If you look at it, thoughts come to us in the form of either images or words. And you can right now, just close your eyes and look. There will be one word, another image, another word, another image coming into your mind. And these all come from, a reservoir of knowledge, experience, memory. And our identification with these words create an I, or your concept of I is created because you associate with these words, these images which are floating in your consciousness. So yoga is, bringing your state of mind to that awareness. When you start to understand that the first layer of your physical existence, the physical body, you are not the physical body. Once your physical body was just a few cells inside the womb, then when you became a child, the body was absolutely different. Every day we are losing multiple cells, and new cells are born. So our we are not this physical body. Second understanding, we come to the layer of the breath, the pranamaya course, where we understand that no, we are not even this breath. And the third layer is the layer of the mind, where our identification is the strongest. and we will find it the most difficult to go beyond this layer into the layer of being a drashta, which is our true self. And to do that, we need to have a good body, we have to have a calm and deep breath, and we have to have an awareness which can penetrate through the web of thoughts which creates desire. So once you are able to do all that, then you are in a moment of what is called Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. It's not that, we don't come across a state of mind during our, life. Suppose somebody, put a knife onto you and you are walking on the street. Suddenly, all your energy will, become integrated into one constant awareness. You will be extremely aware. Or suppose you come across a tiger when you are watching, going on a safari. Or suppose you are, jumping from an airplane in an extreme sport situation. Your mind stops. There is no thought in the mind, and that is what yoga is. We use different mechanisms to, come to that state of mind. But coming to that state of mind naturally through meditation and through your own awareness is what yoga is all about. So I will leave you with this perspective of yoga and what meditation is and what our journey within ourselves is through the practice of yoga. And later on, I would be very happy to field any questions that you may have regarding the practice of yoga or how it could be used in interventions to address mental health. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Achal Mehraji. It was indeed a great pleasure to hear you and such beautiful correlations, such beautiful explanations. Thank you so much. So I would welcome all of you to my brief talk on mind-body interventions in psychiatry with special reference to yoga. So what is mind-body medicine? So mind-body medicine encompasses various techniques with which we are able to collaborate. Is it visible, sir?
No, not yet.
Okay, I'll just.
Malavika, we can't see any screen. So,
Yes.
Okay. Is it visible now, sir?
It's starting.
now we can see it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can put it on slideshow.
Yes, ma'am. So, mind-body medicine is a branch of medicine which focuses on the interactions among the brain, mind, body, behavior, and the intricate and powerful ways in which emotional, physical, psychological, social, spiritual, and behavioral factors can directly affect health. And this mind-body medicine is not a new or a contemporary term. It is something that we have been talking since ages in Ayurveda and yoga. So the definition of health itself, according to Ayurveda, says samadosha samagnischa samadhatu malakriya prasanna atma indriya mana swastha ityabhidiyate. So as much as we talk about physical and external well-being, very intricate importance is being given to social, mental, spiritual, and social health. And this is also confirmed by the yogic theories. The yoga believes that the physical, our body is covered with 5 sheets, as Dr. Geetanjali ma'am was mentioning about Panchakoshas. They are the Annamaya Kosha, the physical body, Pranamaya Kosha, the energy, electromagnetic field, chakras, nadi, prana, the Manomaya Kosha, which deals with mind, emotional well-being, the Vijnanamaya Kosha, dealing with intellect, vision, intuitions, and Anandamaya Kosha is thereby having connection with the higher conscience. So mind-body medicine has been taught in our culture for many, many years, and equal stress on mind, body, and physical and mental well-being have been given throughout our history. So why would yoga be a very potent mind-body intervention, especially in psychiatry? So we know that the WHO defines mental health as not just a state of an absence of a mental disease, right? So it is something that denotes your overall well-being. So a state of well-being in which every individual realizes his or her own potential. He or she can cope up with the daily stresses, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to contribute to their community. So all this encompasses our mental, physical, and social well-being. In yoga, why we have chosen yoga as one of the most potent mind-body intervention is because it is a holistic medicine that achieves tranquility of mind, body, and breath. It gives a sense of well-being, a sense of relaxation, an optimistic outlook in life. So there are so many mind-body interventions. So we have heard of palates, we have heard of biofeedback, we've heard of several kinds of relaxation techniques, Tai Chi. So all these come under various mind-body interventions. But yoga specifically has been researched upon of late in various dimensions, specifically so in mental mind-body health. So it has been a long established fact that the traditional forms of medicine have included mind as one of the most important tools for health. And some researches on yoga suggest that the beneficial effects of yoga on the HPA axis or the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, and thereby preventing HPA axis dysregulation and adrenal fatigue. So we know that the HPA axis is the primary circuit that modifies the physiological responses to stress. And a growing evidence suggests that the yoga benefits physical and mental health via down regulation of the HPA axis and the sympathetic nervous system. And the Ashtanga yoga, as Achal ji were explaining, the Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, all these disciplines of yoga have been studied and have been proved to be an effective way to improve mood, relieve depression, and help maintain a positive outlook of life. And it's also found that yoga-based relaxation techniques normalizes the functioning of the autonomous nervous system by deviating both the sympathetic and parasympathetic indices to near normal values. And these studies have been confirmed with MRI scans and other brain imaging techniques. And they've shown that people who regularly practiced yoga had a thicker cerebral cortex, the part which is associated with processing, thinking, and hippocampus, which is involved in memory and learning. This was compared to non-practitioners, and people who practiced yoga regularly had better thickening of the cerebral cortex and hippocampus. And not just that, yoga plays a key role in influencing those parts of the brain which deals with memory, attention, awareness, thought, and language. And pranayama and meditative techniques in yoga have seen to produce a good amount of endorphins, increase the oxygenation to the various parts of the body and brain, leading to more tempered response when faced with stressful situations. And it is also seen to give out a brain chemical called as the GABA, that is the gamma aminobutyric acid, and reduce the activity in the limbic system, which is primarily what is the system involved when we deal with emotions. So the typical fight, flight, or freeze of reacting to stress is better equipped. You're better equipped to face or respond to a stressful situation if you're practicing yoga and its yoga's principles regularly. And among another study conducted among students, college-going students, yoga significantly improved symptoms of distress and quality of life among adolescents. How do we practically apply the vast knowledge of yoga in our day-to-day life, right? So I've tried to correlate and come up with the 4 most important So coming to Ahara, it is one area where Ayurveda and yoga has given utmost importance, because we are what we eat, right? So a yogic ahar is nothing but you having a conscious and mindful eating habits. So it involves ahimsa, particularly sticking to vegetarian, avoiding meat products, sattva, consuming sattvic foods. When we talk about sattvic foods, we are really talking about foods that are unprocessed, closer to the nature, seasonally available fruits, vegetables, and shaucha, consumption of organic foods, and with as less additives and preservatives as possible. And then coming to why ahara is given such a terrific importance is because of the fact the bidirectional communication between the CNS and the gut microbiota, as we all know as the gut-brain axis, has shown significant influence on the gastrointestinal and extra-gastrointestinal symptoms. Dysbiosis, that is any disturbance in the gut biome, and inflammation of the gut have been linked to causing several mental illnesses, and including anxiety, depressive disorders. So hormones, neurotransmitters, and immunological factors released from the gut are known to send signals to the brain directly or indirectly via the autonomous neurons. And it's the gut health is a prerequisite for a normally functioning central nervous system and a sound mental health. So this is because of which ahara is given such prime importance in yoga also. And coming to vihara. So vihara simply means lifestyle. So how do we lead our daily life? So in yoga, various asanas or bodily movement and postures, pranayama or breathing techniques, sleep and other relaxation techniques can all be studied under vihara. So asanas or body movements, as we all know, aid in improving flexibility, strength, stamina, and a sense of balance. It's an important training tool for the mind and consciousness. And there was a recent study done among a few volleyball players where specifically the PGWBI, the Psychological General Wellbeing Index, was measured. And they, or for a 6-week duration, the volleyball players who practiced regular asana, pranayama, and relaxation techniques did find considerable changes in their PGWBI. Coming to pranayama, it is one of the most important aspects of yoga. One of the ashtangas of yoga typically means regulation or control or expansion of your breath, or the prana, which is the vital force. It is the yogic art of breathing consisting of deliberate modification of the breathing process, such as diaphragmatic breathing, alternate nostril breathing, slow and deep breathing. And it has various processes involved, such as puraka, the inhalation, rechaka, the exhalation, antarkumbhaka, the taking in breath and holding of the breath, and bahirkumbhaka, after exhalation, holding of the breath. So these various attributes of pranayama have been having a lot of therapeutic effects as well. And sleep and relaxation techniques, yes, sleep is essential for physical and mental well-being by influencing almost all the body processes. It influences cognitive skills, memory, learning, and emotional regulation. and relaxation techniques pertaining to yogic practices. The various types of relaxation techniques or dhyana or meditation, which help to equip ourselves to better respond to stress. And there's also mention of Brahma Vihara, a practice wherein positive thoughts such as Maitri or kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, equanimity, all these are inculcated, and meditation and relaxation is based on these parameters. So this is about Vihara. Coming to Achara. Achara means discipline, daily discipline. As Achalji was explaining beautifully, Yama, Niyama are one of the very important conduct or ethics that have been said in Ashtanga Yoga. Yama typically means social ethics such as ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha, as Sir explained. And Niyama more or less refers to personal observances. So Shaucha, Santosha, Tapa, Ishvara Pranidhana, Swadhyaya. So inculcating these habits into your everyday life, along with habits that are mentioned and explained in Ayurveda, such as Dinacharya, Ritucharya, Ratricharya. So all these are not just for textual knowledge, but when you practically imply or inculcate them in your daily life, half the work, 3/4 of the work is done, right? So you're preventing most of the commonly occurring physical and mental ailments. And finally, coming to Vichara. Vichara meaning thought process. So, so your mind is a very, very powerful tool, as we all know. So you keep thinking positive things, positive attributes, your body movements, your active attitude gets modified similarly. So research shows positive affirmations can help change thought patterns and influence different behavioral changes for the better. And chanting of mantras, positive affirmations, positive thoughts are a great way to counteract negative thinking and can stop unhelpful thoughts from spiraling out of control and causing self-doubt. And also the fact that the production of positive thoughts reduces and takes care of your cortisol levels and influences the production of serotonin, giving you a sense of well-being. So to conclude, I would say yoga is not something that is in the book, very complicated and for the very learned and rishis. It is for all of us to explore the deepest depths of this wonderful science. So many unexplored parts and nuances are there. So further researches are very essential for taking this science forward, so that this is practiced in every household, and this does not need any sort of mind blocks. So, and in this fast-paced world, I think lifestyle changes in terms of Ayurveda, yoga, along with contemporary sciences is what will take us forward in this beautiful journey of life. So thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. So moving on to questions. If panelists are ready, we will go on certain questions pertaining to today's session. So the first question is on Ayurvedic psychiatry. So it is a question which says the brief overview of Ayurvedic psychiatry, concepts, diagnostic and treatment methods. So how do we diagnose psychiatric disorders in Ayurveda? What are the concepts behind it? And what are the common treatment methods pertaining to the Ayurvedic psychiatry?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Malavika. As earlier I have explained, Ayurveda clearly defines or understands when it comes to psychiatric or psychological problems. There is a definite marking of classification of diseases in Ayurveda, that is physical disease, psychological disease, and psychosomatic disease. So the diagnosis is based on, as I earlier said, what is the amount of, what is the balance or imbalance of the physical doshas, mental doshas. And also we understand that there is a physical build-up is made up of 7 dhatus, and also the metabolic factors like Agni, whether the digestion and metabolism is okay, or whether all the organs are functioning normally, and the physical aspects like mental, respiratory, these all aspects will be examined as per the Ayurvedic levels of or layers of examination, that is called as a 10 layer of examinations. So in this, we examine all these aspects, and we come to an assessment of like, what is the status, how much he needs to be, whether he is fit, or how much he needs to be treated to make him fit as per what is good for him. And also in Ayurveda, as I said, like in a customized, we first assess what is the built-up of the person. It is called as a prakriti or constitution. So this, what is this prakriti? It is born by birth, by the union of the parts of the father and mother, and also the climatic influence. A person is built up. So in Ayurveda, we understand that mainly basically three prakritis, that is Vata, Pitta, Kapha. So in current science, it is called as a morphology. So each of these will be having a definite physical behavior and the mental behavioral patterns. And the influence of climate or the lifestyle or the ages will be different for all these three constitutions. So Ayurveda understands all these things perfectly and recommends correct diet, yoga, lifestyle, and seasonal adaptation measures for the maintenance of the balance of these doshas according to the constitutions. So that's why it is called as customized. So it is a great contribution of Ayurvedic science about these constitutions, and no other science has this deeper understandings. As I said, when I feel like 7 dhatus or 7 tissues, this is a different makeup is there in all these 3 prakritis or constitutions. So after the initial proper assessment as physical assessment and the mental assessments on the 10-fold examinations, diagnosis will be made, and as per that, a suitable diet modifications, lifestyle modification is recommended, along with the correct medications to balance the doshas. So there are different stages of dosha imbalance. Some are treated with only mild medications, and some are treated with the adaptation of Ayurveda Panchakarma therapies or purificatory therapies. If the diseases are deep-rooted, Ayurveda Panchakarma therapies such as like Vamana, Virechana, Basti, Nasya, these are all adapted to deroot the diseases. And after the purification is done, a proper again to kick up the metabolic fire, Samsa Janakrama, that is a suitable diet mode, or a person is kept on diet for suitable days. After that, a proper diet is recommended for the maintenance of the health. A person is always susceptible for a particular disease. As I said in a prakriti, some people are always susceptible to some disease. So guidelines are given properly to how to adapt lifestyle and food so that to prevent the disease in the further coming days. So when I said like medications, purificatory therapies, lifestyle, along with to maintain a proper physical and strong mental health, yogic exercise, which are very strongly customized based on the prakriti and of the built-up of the person and the strength and the capacity of the person. A customized yoga therapy will be, or exercises will be recommended by the yoga experts. So like this, an overall view of Ayurveda and Ayurveda psychiatry. And also, as I said, the classification of physical, mental, and psychosomatic. If it is physical, mind is treated through body. And if it is purely psychological, psychotherapies, that is in Ayurveda, we call them as Sattva Vijaya Chikitsa. it is a Indian spiritual based because we are all spiritually or culture based, and psychiatry is always a culture based psychiatry. So the Sattvaja Chikitsa adapts Indian culture based modalities, and we provide psychotherapy through these methods, such as like as Achal sir was telling, Yama Niyama. See, in India we always people say forgive and forget. So that is how the treatment starts. So in Sattvaja Chikitsa, we actually start the therapy by correctly understanding and providing the treatment principles through the systems and customs of Indian culture. So like this, it will be more adaptable to the people. So Sattvaja Chikitsa, it means it is a winning over our own bad thoughts or negative thoughts and boosting of the positive thoughts. So winning over one's own mind helps us to properly adapt ourselves and keep ourselves away from disease causing thoughts and lifestyle. So this is how Ayurveda is works, and it's a completely based on individual approach, and it is a super science as I called. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. The next question is for Achal Mehra, sir. The question is, who can start yoga, when and how? And should it be learned from a guru or from books or videos? What do you suggest, sir?
I think anybody can start yoga, because yoga is not about getting into any complex posture like a Sirsasana or something. For elderly, who find it most difficult to start or embark upon the journey of yoga, I think, even doing simple things like joint exercises of rotating your wrists, rotating your shoulders, moving your neck, our energy gets blocked in the joint most of the time. And whenever we start a session, I always start by centering ourselves in and then doing the joint exercises, so that you can at least free up your energy which was blocked in the joints. So I think anyone can start the practice of yoga. It depends upon how far you want to take it. So once you start being comfortable with the movement of your joints, then you can start to open up the body with sun salutation, learn sun salutations after that, and then work on different aspects of for example, if you want to work on flexibility of your different joints, flexibility of your spine, then there are different sections or regimes in yoga which can address that. So anybody can start yoga. But yes, I think when you are getting into complex postures, it is always advised that you go to a physical session where a guru can or a teacher can actually look at you and advise what is being done rightly or wrongly, and then can train you perfectly on that. So yes, that. And what was the third one? The third question you had?
Is it possible to learn yoga with the help of videos, or should it be from a guru?
No, it is also because we are living in a digital world now, and especially when when pandemic started, most of the yoga teachers actually started their online practices. So people have now online, devised methods to actually look at the student and advise, on the yoga postures. But yes, the simple things can always be taught, online. But I don't recommend for people to, learn, let's say, a Sirsasana in an online class, because it can compromise your cervical spine area. You can get an injury. So do simple things that you can do. And remember, it is not about making an effort. Yoga, one of the Yoga Sutra says, Prayatana Shatilyam Ananta Sambhambhati Dhyan. Sthir Sukham Asanam. That which is stable and comfort giving is the posture. And what is comfort giving? It is only when you can breathe normally, then you have comfort. So whenever you are trying to achieve any posture, you should always remember, are you able to breathe normally into it? If you are able to breathe normally into it, you will be able to go deeper into it. So one thing is that. And then, of course, once you have achieved the full posture, then you drop the effort, which is called Prayatana Shatilyam. Experience the posture as if you are a different entity from your physical body itself, as if you are just a drishta watching your own physical body, into different postures. So that, detaches you from the body and start to detach you from the ego, because the more effort you make and the more you link it with achievement, the ego will come into play. So it's not about ego at all. It is about the ending of the ego. So, so these are, my various observations on yoga practice.
Thank you very much, sir. We go on to the next question. Mr. Mani says, I have snoring problem. Is this an indicator of any health problem? And also any yoga Ayurveda treatment to address the same?
Yeah, so I can take that question. I think, the problem, of course, comes from some kind of a defect or some kind of a problem in the nasal cavity. If you start doing, the yoga practices of Anulom Vilom and do it regularly you will find improvements in it. The other thing is, of course, you can also then do gel niti, which is, which you should always do with a yoga teacher. I think these practices can help you to, improve your condition with snoring.
Thank you, sir. The next question is about what do we do with excessive hair fall?
For excessive hair fall, of course, I'm not the right person because I have lost all my hair.
Yeah,
I'm not the right person to advise. But I will tell you what are the mistakes. What are the mistakes I made in my 20s? So, I was a non-vegetarian till I was almost 80, and then I converted to being a vegetarian. And when I converted to being a vegetarian at about 19 years of age, in my 20s, my diet was very poor. I did not take care of having enough proteins in the form of paneer or enough dal. So I neglected my diet in my 20s. And I think at that time when I was growing up, there was not much awareness about it. So I think what is advisable is that you should have the right kind of diet, and I think protein is very important, especially in the where it is all about specifically for vegetarians, because vegetarians neglect protein intake quite a bit, and I only started eating rightly after I was maybe 35.
Yes, one more thing to add about, she says, I have excessive hair fall due to PCOD and low vitamin D3 with generalized muscular pain. I'm very stressed due to my hair fall. Any solutions for it?
I think this is a ideal case scenario for an integrative treatment, because PCOD and low vitamin D3, I think, need to be managed by allopathic medications and other things. And for the stress, either she can go in for counseling through clinical psychologist, or she can have some Ayurvedic medications or other counseling. I think she'll be the ideal case client for integrative kind of management. I think if she's interested, maybe she can sign up for our assessments, and we can find out how best we can help her.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yes, yes. Sir. After initial assessments,
yes,
she could be helped properly, sir.
Yes.
I'll just take one last question from Ganapati, Mr. Ganapati Subramaniam. He says, for gastro issues, if we take allopathy, it works for short term, but again, it comes back. But when going to Ayurveda, it takes time to cure. Till such time to manage the issue, we are forced to take allopathy. Can both be taken in parallel? Please advise how to take.
I think yourself or Dr. Mahesh will be able to help.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Any interactions?
Yeah. See, it is a drug-drug interaction when we speak about. He is speaking about whether both can be taken. So it could be answered only when after the initial correct assessment of the client. So whether it could be taken. So a brief or a history, if we sign up for our thing, so he could be properly assessed, and then only we could answer or address his condition properly, sir.
Yes. So quickly to the next question. Can yoga be mixed with strength training or high intensity interval training on alternate days?
I think yoga itself has, high intensity interval, training. For example, if you do 3 sun salutations, you stop and then you rest, and then again do 3 sun salutations. So it is HIIT in a way. You are increasing your heartbeat to a certain level, then you are resting. And strength training, if you want to do, I can take you to a 30 to 40 minute core and strength training session, and you will see that, you don't need to do anything else if you do that. So, for example, holding planks for, let's say you try to hold a plank for a minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 4 minutes, whatever, you'll see how much strength it is required. And of course, you can start to work on different muscle groups, different, parts of the body. So yoga, you don't need to actually do anything else. But if you really want to go to gym, then use light weights, because what I have observed, with people who go to gyms, they bulk up, on their joints. So what happens that in terms of bulking up the joint, the mobility of the joint gets compromised. So don't build up muscle to the level where your joint mobility gets compromised. So you can definitely do it with strength training, but just see that your stretching, your flexibility is not getting compromised because of the strength training or the stiffening of the muscles at the end because of the excessive load they take.
Thank you, sir. I will just squeeze in one last question. Can't a non-veg diet be clubbed with yoga?
I think, any conversion into, so there should be no force. It is the feeling of eating non-veg or eating vegetarian food should come with your own awareness. Nobody should force it like a principle. So I don't advise people to, eat non-veg or not eat non-veg. I just say that how you feel with your body, by various kind of diets. You experiment with it. You take, plant-based diet, you take non-vegetarian diet, you include whatever you want to include in your diet, but see how you're feeling with your body. And, to my extent, in my own understanding, I feel very light, very aware with a plant-based diet. And now, the world is not only experimenting with, what you eat, but also how you include fasting in your regime. So people are now going to experiment with, intermittent fasting, fasting for 16 hours a day, eating in an 8-hour window, and how you feel with it. Slowly, you will begin to realize that the requirement of food is not as much. So as a yogi, your requirement of food will only be nutrition based. You will take good nutrition, small quantity, and that will, fulfill you. So what, Dr. Malvika was talking about, ahara, is a very important part of it. I feel personally that it should not be forced on anyone. The awareness on whether to be vegetarian or whether to be non-vegetarian should come from one's own awareness and one's own evolution.
Thank you very much, sir. So 1 hour and more, it was such an illuminating session. And the time just flew. We didn't even know it has already been 1.5 hours. I thank each one of you for your patience, for your constant support, and for pouring in so much of knowledge from your own personal experiences and expertise. I thank all of you. I thank all the audience guests who have joined us today. And please feel free to log into our digital healthcare www.niyama.ai. So any doubts, any queries, please feel free to contact any of us or log into our online account. We'll be more than happy to help you in all the ways possible. So I thank one and all once again, wishing you all a wonderful World International Yoga Day once again. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Malvika. Your session was also very enlightening. I want to comment on it. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for your insight.
Thank you.
So blessed. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.